Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Best Damn Sports Show in Franklin County for Wednesday, December 27th, 2017. I am the Nighthawk, along with our studio director, Miss Joanne. And on the panel this week, the two regulars. To my immediate right, my pal, the Duke, and on my far right, Super Dave. And I will tell you, I just got back from the Windjammer.
Oh, is that right, the Jammer?
First Wednesday after Christmas. The old management team from the company I used to work
really?
for,
Yeah, that's cool.
Which has been shut down for 15 years now.
Oh, wow.
But we
Is it
get
really?
together.
Yeah, that's great.
And that place, David, jam-packed. It's Wednesday, below zero.
That's
and
impressive.
this place is always
Very busy.
Yeah.
busy. I'd like to see the millions what they get every year. So
The Jammer in the Upper Deck Pub.
So had a nice 10-ounce filet mignon.
Had some good salad bar, I trust, also.
Salad bar.
Yeah.
And I'm in training, so I finished my meal off with a peanut butter pie.
Oh, perfect.
So needless to say, I'm not hungry tonight. But David, I will tell you, it is cold outside.
Yeah, it's a real deal.
I said, David, it's really cold outside.
How cold is it?
Well, Dave, it's so cold. On the way to the studio tonight, I saw a dog stuck to a fire hydrant.
We got a call, Huck.
Yeah, but that was right during my joke. Good evening. You're the first caller tonight on the Best Damn Sports Show in Franklin County.
Well, it's a great segue into my quiz question.
Okay.
Going back to Neanderthal man to the present, we've evolved
Maybe, maybe
so many
not.
ways,
Not sure how
scientifically, medically, in literature, mathematics. But there's been one common denominator since Neanderthal man to the present, and what might that be?
I'm sorry, what's the question, Lynn?
Oh, I got to go over all that.
I heard the first part of it. I didn't hear the actual question.
From Neanderthal man to the present, we've evolved in so many facets of our civilization, be it mathematics, science, philosophy,
Literature, yeah.
literature. I mean, we've made tremendous strides. But since Neanderthal man to the present, there's been one common denominator that has not changed, one iota. It has not evolved. It has stayed the same from Neanderthal man to the present.
Your body's cold when it's cold out.
Right, it's the weather.
Yes.
We haven't evolved beyond complaining about the weather. Nothing has changed there. I'm sure Neanderthal man, they didn't talk to each other, I don't believe, but I'm sure they had some type of signals that they could tell, it kind of sucks out. And Ahab in the desert, my camel, I don't know how much longer you can go. I mean, we've been complaining about the weather, I'm sure, ad infinitum since,
Since we got kicked out of the Garden of Eden.
Right. Whatever you want to call the start, it's fine. But weather has been one common denominator that has not changed. It hasn't evolved.
But
weather has evolved in terms of forecasting it.
But Leonard,
people complaining about it.
You kind of
Nothing has
answered
changed.
the question. It is the common denominator for human beings. It's a topic that we're all involved in. It's a icebreaker to a conversation most times.
Right.
Cold
But
enough
it's
for
not
you?
really that. For us here right now, where we live, this is no big deal.
Oh, it's not a big deal.
This is like 90 degrees in July.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, this is what the hell? This is what you get up here.
When you live in Vermont, this is
Right.
what you get.
What's a little unusual, even by decades ago cold standards, you don't usually get a pretty impressive cold standard. We're talking daytime highs about 25 to 30 degrees below average. That's fairly impressive. You don't usually get that for a week. That's what's unusual.
I lived at 251 South Main from 1974 to 1987. I can't tell you which year it was in the 70s, but it was in the 70s. We went 2 straight weeks in St. Albans, and the thermometer never rose above.
That must be the
Don't tell me zero. That's not, Leonard, I've got the data. I'm not minimizing how cold it was, but you did not get 2 straight weeks of below zero.
Boy, I
could it have been 70-something straight hours
at the time. That's what I was doing for a
But
living.
don't give me
That's
two
my
weeks.
recollection.
Well, I've got data. You can. I mean, I'm happy to hear your recollection. I've got data for you. I'm not.
You got anything close to that?
I'm not. Well, like Dave said, we definitely have streaks where we've had a couple, 3 days, maybe 4 days below zero.
This was just.
You did not have
does
2
anybody?
weeks.
Anybody halfway remember that? Anything like that?
I do. Leonard, when I was the service manager
Oh, like how there used to
at
be a
this
lot.
store, 1 year, I think it was 80, the winter between 80 and 81, Quaker State had some bad oil, and they forgot to put the stuff in it that gave it its viscosity
Wow.
in the cold weather. And we had a stretch of weather like this, and we had a parade of cars coming in trucks
Wow.
Oh, I
with
bet.
bad motors.
Sludge.
Really?
And we were working 6 days a week,
Wow.
Monday night till 9. Saturdays, it was like the craziest, busiest month of service we've ever had. And it was all easy money until the insurance money ran out for Quaker State. They didn't even bother to check oil samples. They didn't care. You just send them the bill. They paid the check. And then when the money was used up, then you had to prove it
Really?
because they'd used up all their dough.
Not that I'm in any big rush, Richard, but if you get a chance when you look at your data, go back into the 70s and find if there ever was a period of time where it was the most frigid thing that you and I would have ever experienced in Franklin County
Oh, sure. I'm not.
for
I'm
a
not.
2-week period.
I'm not downplaying the frigid times, Len. I look at this data once in a while and mention it in my columns, how soft things have gotten. I'm just telling you, we did not have anywhere close to 2 straight weeks of below zero. Most you get is about 3 or 4 days, but oh yeah, we're talking frigid times.
I'd have to look at the data because, I mean, I'm just not sitting here dreaming it. I mean,
Well, you are
that's
dreaming
my,
it if you
that's
think it
my
was 2
recollection,
straight
Leonard.
weeks.
And I mean, you've got the data, obviously,
I've
but
got the data.
I mean, if you get a chance, no hurry.
Sure, you don't get-
Just
you
go
don't-
back and see if there's any data in the 70s that even comes close to anything like that.
Could there
And
have
I'll
been?
tell you how close it's going. I already told you how close it's going to be is about 3, max 4 days of below zero.
Oh,
I'm
my
not
God.
questioning how unfrigid it was.
Hey, Leonard, is this something as simple as once you hang up, can you not Google the longest stretch of below zero weather?
I don't think you'd get
You could
that.
maybe get that for
Franklin
You might get that for Burlington.
Leonard, I think what you might be talking about is we've had stretches where we've had 15 or 20 days where it was below zero at one time, and then may have gotten above zero.
For nighttime you might get that, but
Yes.
you don't have that for the whole day of
Right.
2 weeks below zero.
No, the most I think is
even
like
close.
116 hours or something like that.
That sounds about right.
I would concur with that thought. I would say I have a vague recollection back in the 70s where we might have gone up to 2 weeks.
I'll bring in some data. I'll bring in a bunch of
see if
data
there's
next week.
See if there's a 2-week period in the 70s where every night was below zero.
Yeah.
Oh, you're saying you're
yeah.
talking different things here.
Well,
That-
no, but my
that-
recollection was it never got above zero.
No,
But,
you're crazy. Nighttime, you certainly, there were certainly months where you had probably 20, 25 days in January with nights below zero. You do not get weeks at a
now
time below
that
zero.
even is pretty unusual.
What's that?
That's pretty unusual.
Well,
25 nights in January below zero.
Well, compared to these days, maybe back then it wasn't. You probably averaged, I would guess, probably half the month anyway, 10 or 15. But these days, in fact, I can give you this stat. The last time Burlington had a high temperature below zero, we have to go back about 3 years.
Are you
I give
serious?
January 22nd, I almost said 1914. January 22nd, 2014.
Oh, gosh.
Burlington had a high of -2, and I suspect that streak will be shattered, I would guess, within the next several days.
Yeah,
Maybe
this
even
no
tomorrow.
question is we haven't had a blitz like this in a while.
But the
been a
length,
while.
the
That's
length of it,
upcoming. That's upcoming.
the length of it is what's catching my eye. I mean,
Right.
you get cold
But
stretches,
again, it's just everybody talks about the weather, and I don't mean to downplay it, but it's trivial.
Yeah, but-
we live in Vermont.
Yeah.
I mean, as I say, it's like having 10 days in the 90s in July.
Yeah.
That's the analogy I use. I mean, my God, it's hot. What are we going to do?
Yeah, Leonard. We can get 15 below zero, and I'll think nothing of it. it hits 90 degrees, and
I know, right? Or yeah, I know you don't like the heat.
And I don't like the heat. I start whining about the heat and all that. But I find this cold air refreshing.
You know, I don't mind 10 below zero if there's no wind and there's sunshine.
Yeah.
Doesn't really feel that cold.
Yeah, it's a little breezy tonight.
Oh, if you got wind with
Wind's
below
a
zero,
killer. Yeah, wind's a killer.
It's a different ballgame.
Yeah.
It's a different ballgame.
Yeah, and
I know you've traveled a lot, Hawk, there on your cruises and the like, but my daughter and her husband and their 4 daughters, they always do something kind of special over the holidays, and they're spending it in Malta. I don't know if you've ever stopped in Malta on your cruises.
No.
And I didn't realize this. I did a little history on Malta.
Wasn't there a Malta conference during World War II?
Is south of Sicily.
Yalta.
And it's about, 100 miles probably north of the Libyan coast. Little island. And Napoleon's army has visited it once. But they have apparently buildings there that date back 7,000 years, the oldest in history. Even outdating the pyramids. I mean, that's what I read. I haven't really done a lot of research on it, but wow, I said, I got to go check this place out. I love history.
What inspired your daughter and son-in-law to do that?
Oh, the same thing that inspired them to go in the Peace Corps. They're adventurers.
Okay.
You know, that's all. Simple. Yeah. Someplace they haven't been. That's the same with me. I'm going back to Europe in March, and I'm going to Lisbon for 4 nights before I go visit my, daughter. Yeah. And I've never been to Lisbon.
I've been to Lisbon.
Yeah. And so anyway, now what's the other topic that
any
was
sports
on my mind?
You want to talk about?
The New York Giants. Of course, the latest news there is that Eli Apple is history because their best defensive player and their only All-Pro came right out and called him a cancer.
Really?
So he obviously, Apple can't stay. He's gone, and we'll probably have to eat a lot of money.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but he can't play. Do you agree, Hawk? He can't. There's no way he can be on the team next year.
That's simple.
No, I disagree wholeheartedly with you, Leonard. Because, as you know, there'll be a new regime coming in to the Giants here very shortly. I expect a new general manager within a week. He was a number 10 pick. He has shown flashes of talent.
Very few, I might add.
And, of course, he's been extremely lazy. And there's been some behind-the-scene family issues.
Absolutely. But he's so immature.
He is extremely immature. So Landon Collins did go on record today and apologize for his comments. Not that whatever he said was incorrect, because I believe him.
That's so touching.
But you can't cut a corner back because they're so far.
Well, you can trade him maybe for a number 6 pick.
Well, a number 6 pick and $1.50 will get you a cup of coffee at Dunkin' Donuts.
Care. He's a cancer. I'm sorry, you've got to excise the cancer from this team.
Okay.
And that includes Mr. Beckham. They'll let him play next year.
Sure.
And if he does real well, they may move him for a nice draft pick halfway through the season. But the man's a cancer. You know what he's accused of today? Some more, whether it's true or not, he didn't do it. But he gave thought, apparently, to, placing a large bet on a Major League Baseball game. And he said the guy who made the statement, don't know the guy, never heard of him. And then they post a picture of Odell with him. I mean, Odell, I'm sorry. If I'm the GM of the New York Giants, I have to excise the tumors.
Yeah.
It's got to be done, Hawk. I'm surprised. You're going to put up with these clowns.
Leonard, but it just depends on what avenue the new general manager. If he's going to clean house, and that would be starting with trading Eli Manning, then you do try to trade Beckham. You do cut Eli Apple, and you tell the fan base that I'm the new GM. We went 2-14 this year. Obviously, we've got some issues. So we're going to start from scratch, and we're going to bring in the ball players I want in here that are good, responsible.
Well, character people.
Right, character people.
Their character, I think that's the biggest flaw with this last 2 or 3 drafts is we haven't had character.
What the hell are the Giants brain trust doing?
Yeah.
I mean, they've got probably 24 people scouting. I mean, they're talking to the colleges where they come from. How does this escape them that we end up with these people that belong in crib for the pacifier?
Well, Beckham Beckham has just an incredible talent.
Oh, big deal.
and-
But he's a child. He's
Oh, he's an
immature.
idiot. He's an idiot, and he's got to go. But I can see somebody will want him. Somebody,
Oh, I agree.
because
He's a talent.
he can do things nobody else can do.
I guarantee you he will be lining up the first weekend in
Oh,
September
absolutely.
for the Giants.
I'd say let him excel for half a season.
Well, they probably couldn't
if
get
we're
much for him now
and
anyway.
if we're not really a playoff caliber
Right, with
team,
his injury.
I'd say you move him. But there's no way in hell I'd sign that guy to a long-term contract because you can't trust him.
Yeah.
No.
And he's not that durable. And he hasn't proven that he can catch a pass in a big game.
Unlike baseball, though, at the football trading deadline, there's a dearth of trade activity, maybe one, possibly two trades. And as I always say, whether you're a receiver, running back, or quarterback, you've got a brand new playbook that you have to learn. So if Landon or not,
Now, there's one school of thought that said you've been away on your cruise, but you probably haven't been reading the New York Post right along. But I think it was 10 days or so ago, maybe a couple weeks ago, one of their writers, I don't know if it was Serby or whoever, thought this is a possibility. They go after the running back from Penn State.
not
Yes.
going to happen.
They do a little trading. You know, they trade down. They get an extra pick. They get the running back. They keep Eli. Okay, they keep Eli.
They get
and
some
then they
linemen.
go ahead and then they pick some offensive linemen. And they don't worry about the quarterback situation. The guy they got there, they drafted number 3, give him a chance to back up. And so I'm not suggesting that's going to happen, but that is one school of thought that was thrust out there. You could make the Giants a stronger team quicker if you went and got yourself a real. They say the guy from Penn State is better than Ezekiel Elliott, and he's a character man.
Yeah, his name's
And the offensive line, you can sign a free agent. You can draft a couple guys, get a couple guys healthy. I mean, you can turn this thing around, pretty quick. You probably can turn it around quicker going that route than picking a quarterback and letting him sit for a year or two.
Yeah.
And but anyway, that's just my thought. I'm not saying it's going to happen or it should happen, but that was put out there to digest, and I gave it a lot of thought.
Yeah, there's a lot of different scenarios the Giants could go down. I still think, I'm not saying I agree with it, but being in the position of having the second overall pick, Josh Rosen from UCLA indicated earlier in the week that he'd rather be picked at a lower position and play for a team that he would care to than versus being in the top position, a.k.a. the Cleveland Browns. So Sam Darnold, the other quarterback, and they're kind of like 1A, 1B. He's from Southern Cal. He said he didn't mind where he would play his football, that it's a great honor just to play in the NFL. So to me, the dominoes are lined up right now where Darnold is going to be picked 1 by the Browns, and I really, truly believe that the Giants are going to take Rosen, whether they keep him on the bench for 1 year with Eli there or simply trade Eli. Just watching that Arizona game, God bless me, Arizona's got a very fine football team.
Good defense.
They lack a quarterback, and of course, their running back, who got injured early in the year, is one of the very best by the name of David Johnson. I think Eli Manning could transform the Cardinals into a division-winning football team, and the other obvious team is the Denver Broncos. So I
have no qualms about trading Eli.
Now, Davis Webb is going to put his pajamas on this week. He for the first.
Oh, I don't know about that.
He is. He's going to be putting his uniform on.
Where are you getting this from?
Oh,
I haven't seen that anywhere.
Yeah.
I saw the post today. They said it'd be cruel to put him out there.
No
chance to succeed.
I'm not saying
it'd be the cruelest thing you could do to put him out there right now.
I'm not saying he's going to play. He's going to put his uniform on for the first time this year.
Well, there.
Right.
It's like getting ready. You're ready to go to the prom, but no date.
Yeah.
So
now,
Rosen didn't play last night in the ball game, right?
Concussion issues. Now, what I think. Now, Rosen's kind of a little head issue in itself. He's going to take some babysitting. I think Rosen didn't play last night simply because he did not want to risk, and I don't blame him, the injury.
He's been dinged up a little bit,
right.
though.
And he's got a multi-million-dollar contract.
You heard it here, Hawk. You know how you like to say, you heard it here first. Well, here it is. The New York Giants are going to draft a quarterback, and it's going to be the kid from Louisville. That's who they're going to draft.
Lamar Jackson.
Absolutely.
That's if
That's the guy they're going to draft.
if they trade the number 2 pick and go down and say they get a number 15 pick.
Oh, he's not going to last 15.
I think
Any good, that guy?
Lamar
I don't think he's
Jackson-
that good, is
He
he?
was the Heisman
Heisman
Trophy winner
last
2
year.
years ago.
Yeah, I like. Of course, everybody's talking
Pretty
about
good, but he doesn't
Rosen
excite
and
me
Darnold.
hugely.
To me, the third best quarterback is Josh Allen out of Wyoming, and of course Baker Mayfield from Oklahoma, who you'll probably see play twice this upcoming month. His stock could easily rise. He's a smaller.
There's another head case.
He's a head case, but again,
And not big. He's not a
No, he's
physically
only
big
6
guy.
feet.
He's going to turn into a
6
guy
feet?
like who was the guy from Cleveland that?
He's short.
Manziel.
Johnny Manziel.
He's,
Yeah, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if the Giants, if they do pick second, they could choose the kid from Louisville.
Yeah,
well, I think, Leonard, it all depends on the new general manager.
That's right. What kind of offense he
If
wants to run?
he,
And
I'll tell you what, I haven't watched a lot of the Giants this year, but I did watch a little bit of that Cardinal game.
Oh my God!
And
God
I'll
bless
tell you what, I don't care who they put in at quarterback, unless they fix that line,
well, look,
they aren't going to.
you know who they had in for right guard? John Jalapio played right guard. Okay, I mean they're all third stringers in there. I mean, and I agree. I've been saying that for weeks. I don't care who you put behind that line. Rodgers, Drew Brees. They are not going to
Now, I'll
succeed.
tell you who-
But picking up from Leonard's theme, you sign a free agent like a Nate Soldier from the left tackle from the Patriots.
Oh, they got to pick up a free agent
Right.
lineman.
They
somewhere.
will be spending big bucks for a left tackle, and they'll move Eric Flowers back over to right tackle.
where it belongs.
Yeah.
And but the thing is, the difference between the Giants and the Patriots got a whole bunch of guys that are hurt. They've got guys. They got second string guys on their line, and they're still good.
Yeah.
Our
And
guys,
what they've also got is discipline.
yes.
You're not going to catch the soap opera. There's going to be very few soap operas in the Pats dressing room. At least it goes public.
Leonard-
The closest thing I've seen to it is this trainer situation with the quarterback.
And they took care of that already. You're out of here.
Leonard, you know what? You just kind of hit the nail on the head. Discipline.
Football's all about discipline.
Yeah, it's all about discipline, and the Giants lack it. And I still predict Josh McDaniel will be our new head coach. I could see a two-headed front office man will sign Dave Gettleman, 66 years old, former GM of the Carolina Panthers, used to work for the Giants, and this Louis Riddick, who I actually like a lot on ESPN, 48 years old, spent 6 years in the NFL as a defensive back, did some front office work for the Skins and Eagles. I would like to bring him in also at the same time. Dave Gettleman is an expert talent.
He did a great
evaluator.
job with Carolina.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Well, anyway,
But Leonard, look at right now. Last year, the Giants were in the playoffs. The Packers were in the playoffs. The Cowboys were in the playoffs. It just every year goes up and down. And
but for different reasons.
For different reasons.
For different reasons.
The only thing that's
I like to
consistent-
remind my Cowboy fans now that, because you're no better than we are now. You're on the outside looking in. I don't care
The
what
only
your
thing
record
that's
was.
consistent
You're
is
no better than we
Cleveland
are.
is terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but again, they've got some issues in that clubhouse.
Yeah, I agree.
They've got some issues, too, in that clubhouse.
Yeah, and that's-
of course, the owner, Jerry Jones, didn't help things out either too much this year with a lot of his mouthing that went on. But what's the last thing? I'll leave you with this. That's my prediction. Even if they pick number 2, the Giants, there aren't many people listening, I'm sure, that even know who Fran Tarkenton is. Or remember what type of quarterback he was. But
I do.
We're going to get another Fran Tarkenton. We're going to pick him number 2, and he's going to be last year's Heisman winner, and he's plays for Louisville. That's my prediction.
No.
I'm not going to jump off any buildings like you predict sometimes if it doesn't happen. But
Okay,
so,
Leonard.
have a good evening.
Thank you, my friend.
Thanks, see ya.
Bye-bye. 527-6449 to be on Franklin County's #1 sports show, the best damn sports show in Franklin County. Now, football. just what I expected to happen. Jimmy G in San Francisco is playing pretty
great.
well. Pretty well. Now, all of a sudden, people
very
are
well.
coming out of the woodwork, the I told you so kind of people. Oh, I told you a number 2 pick wasn't good enough.
So what were the Patriots supposed to do?
Well, the Patriots aren't stupid.
Oops, we got a call.
I think they maybe should have made that
Yeah.
trade before. That's the only.
Good evening. You're on the Best
Criticism
Damn
I
Sports Show
have.
in Franklin County. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi guys. How we doing
How
tonight?
you
Good,
doing?
good.
Just jumping back on your Giant conversation. You guys are saying, well, we'll trade him. That just doesn't happen in football.
Good luck.
There's very, very few trades. Draft day, you trade positions, but as far as I'll trade Beckham, that ain't going to happen.
It's not gonna happen.
I mean, if you guys are that serious about getting rid of one of the premier pass receivers, other teams are going to raise a flag and say, geez, Giants are dumping this guy. What do they expect us to give him? So his value,
Yeah.
you would not get the value that you would be looking for. And the difference with today's football, like I think the previous caller was mentioning, they're in a crib with a pacifier. Well, you know what happens today? There's no discipline. You can't discipline these people anymore. The coaches are kind of handcuffed. And as far as these problem players, you got them on every team. Every team has them. And, every team isn't from New York, New York really gets the press and they're more publicized. But every team has, internal problems. Your pass receivers seem to be the problem of the league, and it's always been that way and always will. What you have to do with coaching today is find a way to connect with these people because, there is a talent there, and you're not just going to say, okay, this guy, I don't like him, he's gone. This guy, I don't like his attitude, he's gone. Football just doesn't work that way. You got to learn how, like I said, how to connect with these people and make them play, 60 minutes.
Yeah, I can guarantee you, Beckham.
I'll guarantee you, Beckham will be playing.
Yeah.
Your quarterback will be playing. I think your coach you've had the last couple of years is just not a good coach. He couldn't get the people to play for him, and the end result is what you got this year. But Beckham's a year older, and again, he's not my favorite guy, but the guy is a football player, and you get rid of him, and who are you going to put there?
No.
So I think the Giants' big thing do get your new coach in, team meetings, and this is the way it's going to be, and kind of run a strict ship and get the most out of your players. I just don't think the Giants played this year.
Yeah.
They gave up on their coach, and they had a ton of injuries, and next year will be another year. You can be as competitive as anybody.
Yeah, every football season is a new lifetime. And again, I agree. Beckham is going nowhere. He's just too talented. Do we get upset with him at times watching him at home? Absolutely.
Well, I'm going to tell you
other than
something.
3 other receivers in football, he's the best.
The trouble with Beckham is you don't know what you're getting back.
What do you
He
mean?
had a serious injury.
Right.
What did he have? All 3 tendons fixed, or
Yeah.
not his tendon, not in his knee, but his ankle. He had a lot of stuff
Yep.
fixed, and he may not be anywhere near.
And that's all the more reason you couldn't trade him.
Yeah.
No, but you may just cut him.
It's not going to happen. It's just we don't. Okay, Brandon Marshall was supposed to be a fix this year. He won't be back on the
No.
team this year.
Didn't you say you wanted him gone?
Oh, I did. No, I didn't say I wanted him gone.
say that?
But he got hurt 5th game of the season. It just injuries.
He didn't even have a catch for like 3 games.
First couple games he didn't play well. But the main problem with the Giants was just I think they had the second most guys on the IR this year in football. But as Leonard mentioned, lack of discipline. This caller is alluding to the new regime coming in. We know there's no discipline. the returning players are not going to want to go through what they did this year. I think there's going to be a lot more leadership within the locker room from the start saying, we're not going to put up with any of this garbage. And again, look at the teams I just mentioned. Made the playoffs last year, didn't make it this year for various reasons. And look at the teams, and I always bring up the Rams last year, were what, 5-11, 6-10, and they won the Western Conference.
I think the Eagles were in last place, weren't they?
You know, Eagles were around 500 last.
Of course, their quarterback played a lot better this year.
So with the right move,
Jacksonville was last place.
Jacksonville was horrible. Blake Bortles turned into a legit quarterback. So no, I know it's been a horrible year, but you know, September is only 9 months away, so 8 months away.
Well, we got a lot of money. We got a lot.
And you know, like I said, every team has these character issues. But you know, if you're playing in New York, Boston, or wherever, you know, it's going to be amplified. You know everything that goes on. But in today's sport world, they look for coaches that can communicate. Is that right? No, I don't know. But they look for coaches that can communicate with all their players. They're coddled, they're pampered. But you know, just the same, this is today's football. The Vince Lombardi days, unfortunately, are done.
Caller, I know after the baseball season, I don't remember what the GM, who he was, but the question was asked to him, what's more important from your manager? The X and O's, managing the game, or keeping the 25 players happy and, you know, looking forward to get to the ballpark the next day, that type thing, just kind of babysitting. And the GM said it's the personal touch. You've got to want your players to play for you. The X and O's will take care of themselves out in the ball field. So the culture is different today. You know, we're all about the same age. You know, we're talking, guys, not a generation ago. We're talking at our age, 2 generations ago. It's just a whole different breed of people we're dealing with. And, you know, we use the word coddle if you want, but a guy like Beckham, you're going to hope he matures that one more year of life.
He's not showing much of that, though. Right?
Probably isn't, but he's not. You know, you're fooling yourself if you think Beckham is going anywhere.
There's one team that could handle Beckham.
That would be the Patriots.
The Patriots could straighten him out.
Yeah, but
they handled Randy Moss.
Yeah, but you've got to look at your return. If you're trying to get rid of somebody, whoever you're trying to trade them to is going to know, and they're going to have you over a pickle barrel. I mean, if you're getting rid of Beckham because you don't like what he does, you don't like his attitude, you're going to find very few people that will trade with you. And if you do, you know, you'd be lucky to get a 3rd-round pick for him.
And that's the thing. We're not going to.
I think the real answer is try to communicate with him, get his head out of his butt, and play football to the best of your capabilities. He's still a kid. He's got a lot of maturing and growing up to do, but, you know, he's probably worth the gamble hanging on to.
Hey, he's going to be a 5-year veteran.
If you start trading everybody you don't like, you're going to have an empty locker room.
What's he got, David? 1 year left on his contract?
This is 1 year left. The Giants.
Then we can franchise him if we want, I think.
If he turns into something.
Yeah.
And if he's a dud like he's been, you can just let him go.
Yeah.
That's a great thing with football is you can clean house. In 2 years, you could get rid of all your bad contracts and all the dead money, and it'd be all gone.
Yep. Yeah. So, anything else, caller?
No, that was about it. It's been very quiet on the baseball front.
Well, I talked to someone over the Christmas holiday, and he said it's not the hot stove league; it's the cold stove league. I've never remembered a December with so little activity as it has been this year. It's unbelievable. We spent the first 70 minutes.
The trend for first basemen, like the Red Sox, we signed our first baseman for Moreland for $8 million a year. And I guess you guys got a guy named Adams.
Well, we signed Matt Adams for 4 million plus like $500,000 in incentives. But actually, Moreland, you got less than $8 million. You got him 2 years for $13 million, which is a steal.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great contract.
A steal because the Red Sox.
And I also saw Cleveland signed Alonso.
Yeah, like $10 million.
I guess what I'm saying, the trend is, and I do agree with it, is your first baseman's like that. Don't go out and spend $1 billion on them because, a lot of people towards the end of their career do play first base. So Eric Hosmer, he's in a pretty tough position, really.
He was kind of thought he might be pulling down $160 million. So would you rather give $13 million to Moreland or be stuck at 160? And you're right. When you sign those big contracts, the last year or two, you're getting very little production. I just think the Red Sox made just a wonderful move.
Oh, yeah, that was a great contract.
Yeah. So
especially if they don't do anything else.
Yeah, I'm certainly not complaining.
Yeah, and the thing about
like I said last week, I just hope we don't sign Martinez.
And the thing is, I have not heard any rumors at all on J.D. Martinez in the last 2 weeks. There were some rumblings about the Red Sox, but I haven't heard anything.
Well, when a guy wants $200 million.
Yeah, is there a chance J.D. Martinez just hangs out there, which has happened to a few guys in recent years? That Burroughs is so far off on his market value thing that it'd be funny if nobody goes after this guy.
Yeah. Could very well happen.
A scalper at a Red Sox game. Those guys drive me crazy. Hey, guy, the game started. It's the second inning now. I'll take your ticket. Here, I'll give you $10. Get out of here. I'm not selling it for less than $50. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Keep your ticket.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Huh.
Yeah, and as far as that big money he wants, I just soon put my money into pitching.
Yep.
Never a bad
get
idea.
some seventh and eighth inning pitchers out there because, like I said before, I'm happy with the team we have on the field now.
Yep.
If we can shore up our late inning pitching, I'll be perfectly happy and confident.
I'm happy not to spend mega bucks.
Okay, thank you, caller.
Okay, I'll let you guys go.
Thank
Have
you,
a good
caller.
evening.
Happy New Year.
Same to you guys.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. See ya. Thank you.
The whole thing with the free agents this year is you got the Dodgers don't need any, the Yankees don't want any, the Red Sox don't want any, the Nats don't really want any.
Nope.
The Cubs really don't want any. The luxury tax is kicking in. Everybody realizes that why spend $15 million a year or $20 million a year for Jacoby Ellsbury when you can get Aaron Hicks for $2 million a year, who's just as good a player.
Right. And again, Moreland, what did he get? 22 home runs. He's probably capable of a few more. So you can spend.
It sounds like he had a very representative season.
So you can pay him $6.5 million, or go out and get a Hosmer that'll hit 30, but you have to put an additional $12 million on.
And Moreland's a better first baseman.
Right. Quietly a very good.
Now, once in a
player.
while, if you're the right guy in the right situation, you can get a big contract. But you take like Arrieta, Hugh Darvish, those guys aren't getting $100 million contracts.
Grab a call. Good evening. You're on the Best Damn Sports Show in Franklin County. Hello?
Hey, caller, go ahead. We're waiting for you.
Joanne, I think he's gone, or she's gone.
Hello?
Hey, caller, fire away.
No, they're gone. Okay. So, David,
Call back.
I was going to do this later in the show, but we'll get back into football. But we talked last week a lot about baseball and who at this point is a better team, the Yankees or the Red Sox. And, of course, you being a Yankee fan, I knew you were happy with where you're at.
Yankees, I'd say the same thing.
I said to myself,
we had a better team last year in the Red Sox, if you ask me.
I have no.
I'd say certainly by the end of the season, you could make that case.
I have no dog in this fight. I'm a National League guy. So I said, I am going to do a analytical analysis on this team. I'll let David be the Yankee guy, say his opinion, and Duke be the Red Sox guy. So I'm comparing each position. So I'm going to start with left field. And you guys each put a vote in for who would you rather have. Would you rather have Brent Gardner, or would you rather have Andrew Benintendi of the Red Sox?
Benintendi, obviously.
Well, I would rather have Benintendi because he's younger and stuff,
Yeah,
but
you got him by about 10, 15 years.
but if I was only going to, but as a player, day to day, Gardner's pretty good. Gardner's
better than Benintendi?
he brings a special skill set.
It's an easy call. That's no.
I thought
no
that was
But
an easy call.
is he a better player? I think 9 out of 10 would probably take Benintendi.
But you got to throw. You got to consider. I mean, you got to consider age too.
Yeah.
I mean, how would you? Why would you? You're telling me you would take Gardner over Benintendi?
No.
You're crazy.
No, I like Benintendi.
Next position, center field, Aaron Hicks or Jackie Bradley Jr.?
That's a
That's probably debatable.
My vote,
I like Jackie Bradley, but I'm not sold. His hitting is
Hicks
just very
hasn't played
streaky
enough for me. He doesn't have a big
Hicks
enough
hit
resume.
pretty good last year, and don't forget
He only had like 230 at bats.
Ellsbury is going to try to get his job back. Ellsbury had before he got his concussion last year, he was hitting 280 with some good numbers. Then when he came back, he hit like crap, and then August,
Good end of the season.
he was really good. So
Now, Jackie Bradley hit 245, had an off year. Everybody knows
He's
that.
an excellent
But
fielder.
the year,
He's a
a
great
year
fielder.
earlier, in 2016, he had 24 home runs, 87 RBIs. Okay, so my vote goes to Jackie Bradley.
I
there.
would give that a toss-up.
Yeah, I guess I would. To be honest, Aaron, I just don't know enough about Aaron.
Now,
Hicks.
this is the fun vote. Right field, the Red Sox best player, Mookie Betts,
boy.
against
Judge.
Aaron Judge. Well, my circle went on Aaron Judge on that.
I can't.
It's
I
hard
can't
to
not take
dismiss.
Mookie, but I certainly.
It's hard to dismiss. What do you have, 52 home runs?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's,
For
I
200
just hope he does as well
strikeouts.
next year, and he cuts down on his
yeah.
strikeouts.
And I think Mookie had 24, and we all love Mookie, but you know,
For the record, I'll take Mookie because I just like his versatility and a ton of strikeouts. Always drives me crazy. But I'm obviously not
It's,
going to tell you you're crazy
Oh, and
to
when
take
we
Aaron Judge.
and when we aren't putting him out there, we got Giancarlo Stanton.
yeah. Third base, Rafael Devers. As of right now, if the season started, I'm assuming Gleyber Torres, but he's got zero resume.
Right.
Or the Andujar, is he?
Didn't we trade him for somebody?
I think Andujar's still on the team.
Okay,
But he
or
played
maybe
very
they're
little.
talking about trading him
But
to,
without a lot of debate,
for Garrett Cole. So
without a lot of debate, Devers would get the vote, and I still think Devers. You know what, Devers?
I think it's Devers. I think it's
Devers. He's 21. I checked. He does not
Really?
turn 22 until
he could have
October.
He could have a sophomore slump.
I'd like
too.
to see. I'd like to
Because
see a little more.
he faded away a little bit as the
Sure.
year went on
Well,
too.
but geez, he basically came up from Double-A Portland. He played
he
like
was
a few
20 years
games
old.
in
He,
Pawtucket.
with the Red
But I'd
Sox.
like to see a little more. Yeah, I'm not rushing this guy into the
Yeah.
Hall of Fame just yet.
Now, David, at shortstop, I have a half on each. That was my only tie.
I don't think it's a tie. I think Didi was better last
Wait,
year.
Ben-
He
Ben-
was better last
based
year.
on last year, Didi
He was.
better.
No debate. But
Didi is better. And
Didi-
he's a way better fielder.
or Xavier Bogarts.
Didi.
I put a half on each.
I wouldn't disagree.
You
think
gotta
Didi's the choice.
give that one to Didi. I think.
Didi-
I'd like to think Xander will had a great year 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Faded a bit. I'd like
Yeah.
to think he'll kick it up
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
But no, I agree.
And I'm
right.
basing my half vote where I can't base everything on 1 year because I've seen Bogarts hit before, and every Red Sox was
He had
down
a better fielding year 2 years
last year
ago too. I think.
Okay, at second base,
Or Starlin's gone.
Starlin's gone.
in Miami, but you got that Torres, not Gleyber, but
The other Torres is just a fill-in. He's
Right.
not going to be there.
So is it Gleyber going to be playing second?
From what I understand and what I've been reading, they've been kicking the tires on a lot of third basemen. So I think they're going to put Gleyber as second.
Okay. So Pedroia, that's how I expect Torres, right, Gleyber there versus Gleyber. My circle goes to Dustin Pedroia.
Oh, yeah.
So first
And
base,
especially, I'd love it. I mean, one pickup, I'd love it if the Red Sox could get Mr. Nunez back.
yeah.
Is he's still out there? I guess
He's still out.
Yeah.
Nothing's happening.
Or especially with the Red Sox, if they're not going to spend big buckos on
It's all going to
Martinez,
happen in February.
Spend some money on Nunez.
So first
Talk about
base, Greg Bird or Mitch Moreland. My circle went to Moreland without any.
Greg Bird
Oh, I don't know.
Greg Bird hasn't shown me anything. He hit what? I don't even
7
think,
home runs
I don't
in,
even in the playoffs.
in between the last week and the playoffs.
Right, but I don't even know if he hit 200 during the season.
Well, he had a broken foot.
Right, but he has no resume himself. He's been injured for the last couple
He's
of
good.
years.
He's a good fielder.
He could very well be.
I would call that a wash.
I'd be tempted to call it a watch too. No offense to Moreland, but Greg Bird sounds like he's got some
But
talent.
all I know about Greg Bird is what I hear from Dave Handy about
Greg Bird's really
the
good.
potential. But
He's
he
good.
hasn't been on the field.
He's good
So
and he's mature.
Right. My vote went to Moreland, and we're talking defense.
That sounds like not a. That sounds like not a crazy vote. But that strikes me as maybe
Catcher,
pretty,
we're
pretty
all over.
close.
Catcher, don't even.
Okay.
And right. With that being said, as poor as Red Sox offense was, Christian Vasquez,
Very good
very
year.
quietly, who's a superb defender, hit 287 for the team. He played really well. But with that being said, when you say Gary Sanchez, that's the end of the conversation.
He's a good catcher.
Game, set, match.
Although defensively, he's.
Well, they
got a
say
ways to
he's
go.
been working on his body. They're trying to lighten
Well,
him up a
I
little
saw a
bit.
bunch of just bad pass balls.
Oh,
from him.
Okay, next position, David, DH. Let's see, Giancarlo Stanton or
Hanley Ramirez. That one we're all over.
Right, okay, we
we're
no
all
need
over.
to talk
That's-
about
Stanton,
that.
he's just going to be a
Well,
DH?
the master plan, from what I understand,
Is that good for him?
is DH between Stanton, Judge, and Gardner. Those three guys. When it's a lefty, Judge is going to move to left, Stanton will be in right, and then they'll use whoever they want as a DH. So when they plan on rotating 4 outfielders for
So Stanton will play the outfield against lefty
Stanton
pitchers?
will more than likely be right field. Judge is the guy they're planning on moving because I guess Stanton's not that great a fielder.
Just against lefty pitchers, apparently? Stanton will be in the outfield?
Maybe, and then when they give Judge a day off, hey, there's 162 games.
Mix and match.
If they all play 140 games, they'll be happy with that.
Is that okay? Is Stanton happy to be not playing the outfield every day? Or?
I think.
I haven't heard anything.
I don't.
I don't think he cares. That's
He
fine
knew
with
what
him,
he was
probably.
getting when he forced them to trade him to the Yankees
So next,
because they already had a right
So you're
fielder.
giving the Yankees the edge with DH?
Yeah.
yeah.
Kidding, don't worry.
Yeah. Next bullpen, that was
Begs the question, who is the how could I forget my good friend Hanley?
You're
Chris Hanley at the moment.
So the bullpen was easy. That went to the Yankees.
Although Mr. Kimbrell had a fairly decent
Right,
year.
but
He's really good.
Striking out
Kimbrel.
every other battery face.
But you've got Chapman, Betances, and Robertson.
Well, if the Red Sox could get one of their guys who they got in a trade, is that the Travis Shaw trade, the pitcher who's never
Yeah.
pitched one? Or is
Carson
that the other
Smith,
guy?
are you thinking of?
Yeah.
I'm thinking one guy came back last
Yeah.
year, another guy is yet to
Yeah.
even pitch for
Yeah.
him.
So I had the bullpen. I mean, I know you have Kimbrough. He's a very good closer. And lastly, the rotation. I'm sorry, David, but my circle went to the Red Sox. Sale, Price, Porcello, Pomerantz, and Erod.
I don't think that's as big an edge as it looked
Tanaka,
like.
Sonny Gray, but it's the 4th and 5th, Montgomery and Warren.
Well, you got
You've got Chad Green.
number one is Severino. Severino's as good as anybody.
Not as good as Chris Sale.
Well, you know what they were saying?
I like Severino's very good, but Chris Sale's
I
the
was
second best
listening to
pitcher in the league.
MLB, and they said that one of the traits that Chris Sale's had for the last 3-4 years is he fades in the last 6 weeks of the season.
But you know what?
He poops out.
He might have faded, but I'm a big picture kind of guy. Say Chris Sale had a poor April, okay? People would forget all about April. He had a 2.90 ERA, led the league in striking. Other than Corey
he's
Kluber,
really, really good.
And we had the conversation last year, who's better, Kluber or Sale? And we said, well, geez, I'm not really sure.
Well, at the
Corey
halfway it was Sale.
And Corey Kluber not only sucked in April, but he was even the first 2 weeks of May, he was terrible. Then he went lights out. But Severino's a nice pitcher. I'm not going to say one nasty thing. But Chris Sale, I just love everything about. And thing, too, I like about Chris Sale, he didn't open his mouth up once all year. He goes out and pitches. And
But you're
I guess
talking
the
about
question
two.
is he's just got a
You're talking
history of-
about 1A and 1B between Severino and. Hey, you got the guy that was second in the Cy Young and third in the Cy Young.
was Severino third?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So you're talking
Yep,
pretty close.
Gotcha.
Okay. Now let's go to number 2. Sonny Gray
No, Tanaka.
or Tanaka, who
did not pitch well in the
but he pitched good when he needed to.
Wait. Don't. I'll jump over there and start strangling you. A win in April counts just as much as a win
I
in
know, but he
September.
pitched much
Tanaka
better in the
was
second half.
Right, but he was so bad, his ERA was still over 4. at season's end.
Well, how about David Price?
David Price
Was awful all year.
yes, he was awful.
He was,
So,
he
if
was
you
not
gotta-
pitching, he was, for the record, he wasn't awful all year. He didn't even pitch for a few
Right,
months.
he was worthless. So if
But-
you got to
but
go
I
with
will
Tanaka or
concede-
David Price,
Okay.
I think the edge has to go to
Well,
Tanaka.
I will concede with you that Tanaka will be much better pitcher in 18, and I think David Price
Will be a lot better.
will
too.
be a lot better.
All right.
So this
I
is-
call those a toss-up.
All right.
Okay. Now we got number 3, Sonny Gray or Rick Porcello.
Porcello, you know, as you accurately predicted, that he would fade after his great season. He's obviously going to come
He'll
back.
be better
soon.
this year. He can't be any worse. They'll have to get rid of
And
him.
Sonny Gray did a nice job of the Yankees, but he's still not at his Oakland Athletics form of 3-4 years ago.
He's still pretty good, but he's
still
at least
pretty-
as good as Porcello.
Right.
All right. So those 3 are all a wash. Okay. Now number 4, CC Sabathia pitched like a champ last year.
He pitched well, no argument.
And he's better than any. I'd take him over
He
Pomerantz.
tends to pitch very well against the Red Sox
Yes, he
in
does.
particular.
But I will say this.
Pomerantz had a
Pomerantz had a pretty good season too.
Excellent,
Hang
pretty
on.
good. He had more than.
All right,
pretty
well,
good,
let's call him a wash.
If I'm a general manager right
given that
now,
choice, I'd take Pomerantz.
and
in a second.
CC's a fine human being.
How old is CC? 50?
He
Well, yeah.
seems like he's 50.
Yeah. But if I had to pick either Pomerantz pitch for me this year or CC, I would take Pomerantz.
Well, if I had to pick him for 5 years, I'd take Pomerantz. But if I'm only going to have him pitch for this year, I'd take CC for one
I'd
more
take
year.
Pomerantz had a great
For one
year.
more year,
Yeah.
because you can't.
David, I know where this argument's leading up to. It's going to be a wash, and we're going to have to shake hands after.
That's what it is a wash.
So then you got Montgomery is number 5,
Who was pretty good.
and Erod, who's never healthy. He's a decent pitcher.
And I guess
He's
we
not,
got this
never healthy.
Sheffield, this Justice Sheffield. We got
Adam Warren.
Warren. We
and
could turn into a
Sessa.
starter.
And of course, in the Red Sox for number 6 guy, who I think will be a starter because he's a knuckleballer. You don't want a knuckleballer in your bullpen. I think Stephen Wright will.
well, that's if he gets out of this.
Well, that domestic thing has been taken care of. I think it's been put on hold, meaning if he gets no trouble for the next 12 months, that will be abolished from his record. And his wife dropped charges and blah, blah, blah. But again, you don't want a knuckleballer in the bullpen, period. So I think Wright will probably be
I
the
read an
number
interesting thing today that they were with this whole Me Too hashtag with the sexual harassment stuff, that all of these men, Bill Clinton, Bill Cosby, everybody, none of those things could stick, but it took old Harvey Weinstein before it finally stuck.
Yeah.
And so now every guy, your Matt Lauers, and now this guy here, this Wright, God only knows what he did, and there's no excuse for that. But I mean,
Matt Lauer, I've been reading about. They just says he's a rotten person, period. That he treated everybody horribly.
Isn't that amazing? For like 20 years, his TV persona was just the
Yep.
opposite,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Hey, well,
Amazing
that's
how you
acting.
I guess that's acting.
And what about Charlie Rose?
Yeah.
I always thought Charlie Rose was a real straight guy.
fellow Dookie, of course.
Yeah.
Well, all those Duke guys, all you got to do is look at that lacrosse team.
And Mark Halperin, a name that may not mean anything
I
to
know
you
him.
guys, from Morning Joe. Very solid political commentator. Not a crazy guy either way. I guess he had some bad stuff when he was some years ago. He's gone.
So back to the Sox.
Anyway, so that's
Okay.
that's right. I'm not sure he's going to be able to play.
Okay.
You'll have Gloria Steinem and that Gloria Eldred.
Gloria Allred,
or
Allred, is that what her
lovely,
name is?
and her lovely daughter.
What a stinker she is.
They'll be there opening day when Wright throws
I
the
actually
first
saw her
pitch.
daughter. It was maybe the only time in my life I've watched The View, and I only watched it because I heard Lisa Bloom.
Yep,
I heard
Lisa
this was
Bloom.
after she was getting a ton of grief, understandably,
Right.
for basically being one of Harvey Weinstein's lawyers. I thought she did it probably as good a job as she
Yeah.
could in explaining this, but still,
Yeah.
not impressive.
So, David, do you have the Yankees in front of the Red Sox by little, runaway? How are you?
Hey,
looking
you
at it?
never know.
Because the Red Sox, I think the Yankees are done. I think the Red Sox have.
As
that-
in done, as in not doing any more.
I think they're going to
moves.
get Garrett Cole.
Oh, boy, that maybe it's because of the holidays. And this, David, I usually have a pretty good handle on things. I said last week, I'm not quite sure why Garrett Cole is even on the market. He was the first overall pick in the draft.
The Yankees drafted him, back when he was in UCLA, and then he went to college.
He was picked number 1 in 2011 by the Pirates. Now, this past year, he didn't have a good year. The Pirates didn't have a good year. He went 12-12 with a 4.26 ERA. But 2 years ago, 2015, he went 19-8, 2.60 ERA with a 1.09. And with the 5 years he's pitched, good numbers. 3.5 ERA with a 1.22 WHIP, 59.42. Now I know they're talking Clint Frazier, part of the deal, but you're going to have to give up a heck of a lot more than Clint Frazier, who has no track record either because he's a minor league player.
He was the top. He was the guy they got for the side armor there. What's his name from Cleveland?
Right, Andrew Miller.
Andrew Miller.
Right, he is a top prospect.
He's in the top 4. They are probably going to have to give up one of their pitching, Chance Adams or whoever they got.
Pittsburgh did ask for Gleyber Torres, and the Yankees said no way.
The Yankees have 4 or 5 guys that are untouchables. The trouble they got with Frazier, I think they like Frazier plenty. Mm-hmm. They just don't need a place to play him.
No place. I'll tell you what, if you get Garrett Cole, then I'll jump on the Yankee bandwagon.
But I'm not even sure, even with Garrett Cole, because the way the season turns out, only God knows. Who'd ever thought the Yankees, they could have way overachieved this year. Yeah. Who'd ever thought Didi Gregorius would be a number 4 hitter? Judge could go back to hitting 190. Sanchez, all these things all could turn to crap. I don't think they will, but they could.
Now, if the Red Sox do go out and get their big bat, whoever it may be, then they have to get rid of someone. And to me, the obvious choice was Jackie Bradley Jr. I thought the landing ground for him was the San Francisco Giants, and they had interest in Jackie. But right now, they're in very heated conversations with the Cincinnati Reds over their speedster Billy Hamilton, who will end up, stealing 70 bases. He only hits around 250.
He's not much later. Now, the other thing you've got to fool around with, all these teams are all farting around with the salary cap. And I think the Red Sox are serious about not going over it.
Oh, they are.
And the other thing I heard that the Yankees might do is if a guy like Moustakas would take a 1-year deal, the Yankees could handle Moustakas, or if they could package up Ellsbury, but they're gonna end up paying 3/4 of his salary in any deal they do.
Yeah. By the way, I think he only gets $22 million a year. I think we were saying 25. So
they still owe him $68 million, is what?
In 3 years.
For 3 years.
3 years. So do the math there. Yeah. That's 22.7.
Oh, what a bad dumb signing that was.
Yeah. And the thing too, David, is spring training opens up about 6 weeks. So some of these transactions are going to have to happen.
Well, they'd like Frazier back, but they don't want to give him a big contract. The Yankees are willing to pay a guy decent money. They aren't like the Nationals trying to hire a manager for $1 million a year.
Yeah, really.
But Frazier, I think they like Frazier a lot. I think they're going to find a third baseman on the cheap, and then they still have a pile of young guys that are loaded all the way up and down.
Yeah,
this could be really interesting. But Stanton was almost really, what do you do with him? I mean, because he's really good. But they're thinking maybe because if he DHs some, it'll take some wear and tear off him because he's had trouble staying on the field. Mm-hmm. Of course, a lot of it wasn't his fault. When he got hit with that guy hit in the face.
Right in the face.
Well, he got hit in the face, right?
That really took a long time to clean up.
Yeah. Right. And mentally, I mean, I have to mess with your head.
Yeah.
So, but like we said last week, Yanks, Red Sox, extreme fun.
Well, I think they're the only 2 teams left in that division that are going to be any good.
Oh,
looks like it, huh?
Yeah.
Tampa Bay got rid of Longoria.
Yeah.
And Moustakas, he's having a hard time. Not Moustakas, but Hosmer. I wouldn't be surprised if Hosmer ended up back in Kansas City.
I really thought Hosmer would have been the first big guy signed. I'm shocked that he's.
They
still
really
available.
would like to keep him, but I think there's a price adjustment going on. If you're an older guy, and when I mean older, anybody over 30, you aren't going to get the $200 million contracts.
You know, there was a huge savings, as we said earlier, signing Moreland. But I think the Red Sox are serious about staying below $197 million themselves.
I think, and the Dodgers want to get under it. Do you realize how much money the Dodgers paid in the salary cap?
This year, they paid, I think, $37 million just for the salary cap luxury tax.
This year, because the Yankees have paid over $300 million in luxury
What happens?
tax
Does that money get distributed to
with the other teams.
Is that what happens
all
to
the
it?
other teams
yeah.
equals here?
The teams that aren't over the luxury tax.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So interesting. Hawk, I think the Celtics deserve some attention
Well,
here.
we could go right.
As in concern about.
Oh,
I think that's a big story.
concerns understatement.
Well, I think the 16-game winning streak was maybe the worst thing that ever happened.
I think they're 5-6 in their last 11 games.
Don't talk about tonight.
They're playing
right?
tonight
They're
against
playing-
Charlotte.
Yeah.
I will tell you to start with.
And the loss to Washington. I mean, geez, they looked in good shape.
Yes, they did.
There's some harsh words about
Well,
them, in fact.
Not picking on Kyrie, but he was the second worst defender in the league last year on defensive sabermetrics, whatever that might be, but I'll take him for the word. Well, we started the season, as Duke mentioned, 16 straight wins.
After too long.
Kyrie
after
was
two
playing
losses.
some defense, but it's not just Kyrie. I'm starting to see it spread throughout the whole team. They're just not
And rebounds.
working
Sounds like
as hard.
their offensive rebound, they're getting
Terrible.
killed. Second chance point.
Yeah.
That's what
And
killed them against Washington.
It's starting to show up right now, the Avery Bradley not being here. And the guy we got, Maurice Morris, he's
been
not playing
mostly
tonight.
injured.
He's got a horrible knee. He's missed a ton of time. So right now, the Celtics are in first place. David, I will guarantee you in 2 weeks, they'll be in third place. Cleveland will be the cream.
In fact,
And-
Charles Barkley doesn't even have them as in the top four in the East.
Really?
He had, I think, Milwaukee, Washington, Cleveland.
It's funny you mention Milwaukee. They've got arguably
And
one of the
Toronto
top
ahead of
three
them?
players, the Greek Freak. Help me with his name because I can't pronounce it.
I don't know any of those guys.
But
Right, that guy's unreal.
I was thinking. last night. I was
To mention
thinking
old
about
friend
the Bucks.
Jabari Parker. Is that his
I'm
name?
thinking, boy, I wonder what the Bucks are doing this year. They're 18 and 16.
Oh, is that
so
right?
they're off to.
But the Celtics, I'm just a little puzzled.
Hey,
here.
it's a long season. And what about, I was looking at the hockey standings the other day.
Meanwhile, the Bruins, of course, going the other way. What about the Bruins? 13-3-1, 2-0 lead tonight against Ottawa.
Yeah.
They're playing some
all I
very
can
good
say
hockey.
is I've got my Montreal Canadiens flag. I have a nice flagpole in front of
They're
my
over
house.
500.
Right. But they're in 12th place, and then it's the old, how many teams do you have to jump over? So, do you know what I did last night? I ordered a Boston Celtic flag because when that
Really?
comes in a couple weeks from China,
Is that right to put that
the
up?
Canadians are coming down and
Really?
the Celtic flag is coming up. Montreal looks horrible, boring. If you give me some free tickets, David, I will take them. But I don't want to spend any money. And for me to sit here, I could spend a lot of time, but the bottom line is there's just simply not that much talent on the
And
team.
again, it seems like I always fall back on this word. It just seems like just kind of a
faceless.
faceless.
They're a faceless team.
Yeah.
Now, the Bruins,
Oh, we got a caller.
good evening. You're on the Best Damn Sports Show in Franklin County.
Well, I've spent my time on the internet since I
Well, Leonard, if
said
you
goodbye talking about weather.
tell me you can find 2 straight weeks of total below zero weather,
Well,
what can I do? Go,
it's
want me to
not-
go out
it's not
and
easy
jump off
to-
the building?
It's not easy to Google.
You're not going to find it.
This is what I have found, though.
I'm listening.
And I want to enter this as testimony. I'd like the jury at least to hear the testimony.
Listening.
And we'll let the jury decide. This 1977 is the year you want to check, Richard, with your data. It says in February 1977, this is all I can come up with, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Kentucky, and West Virginia saw their coldest February since record-keeping began.
So what's
Severe
that got to do
cold
with
still
two-straight-
covered areas from the Northeast and Midwest. Schools begin to close because of the extreme cold. Homeless people had a hard time finding shelter, causing some deaths. Snow and blowing wind created dangerous wind chills. Due to blowing snow, ice, and severe cold, semi-trucks had their deliveries delayed. Some locations saw a record-long period of below zero temperatures, and that's all I can come up with.
And in those cases, that might be 5 hours.
Well, again, ladies and gentlemen of the jury,
I was waiting for some
That's
evidence,
all I
Len.
can offer in evidence, and I'm not saying it was. My memory was it was 2 weeks, but at least you got a year to go look at it
And your
anyway.
memory-
So next week, maybe you go to look at your data and see what the winter of 1977, what it was like
Right,
for
I'd
us.
be
here.
happy to do that, Len. And you're talking to a guy who recorded this data as an official National Weather Service observer. I
Right.
pay a ton
But
of
we're
attention
both,
to weather.
We're both a little bit older than we were in
And believe me, if it
1977.
was 2 straight weeks of below zero, I would remember something like that. I'm not going to
Well,
find
there's a lot
more
of
than
stuff
about
I used to
3
remember, but I don't
days.
anymore because of my advanced years.
But I will most certainly check weather, and I'll bring some weather data in.
Hey, I
From
can.
that year, 1977, because that
Right,
appears
it's
to
gonna
be
be-
the year. That appears to be the year in question.
Fine, and it's going to be just exactly or no more than what I told you.
Leonard, I had my daughter Natalie had her state hockey tournament when she was, I think, a 12U or whatever it was, in Stowe.
Been there.
And the rink, that Saturday morning, it was like the first week or second week in February.
The rink
Is that
wasn't
year?
enclosed at that time,
Right.
right?
The temperature inside the rink was 32 below zero. And it was so cold, we wouldn't make the girls.
They were playing? They played?
Yeah, 32 below zero. And they would only play one period at a time because they made them go in and warm up in between periods. And because normally how they usually play two periods.
That seems a little cold. I can give you, if you're talking data, I can give you. You ready for New England's coldest temperature on record? Why don't we start with that?
Like 100 and
Must
some
be on
below
Mount
up in Mount
Washington.
Washington.
I'm talking. Forget wind chill. I'm talking air temp.
Right.
50. How about 50 below?
That was in
What, Mount
Canyon or
Washington?
something, wasn't it?
Close. Like at Bloomfield, Vermont, 1933, I think, and Maine, a remote place in Maine, tied it about 10 years ago.
Didn't
so
we
can,
have
we can
a, like
start
a-
with that.
Sorry,
A 39 below in Richford
if it's
about 10 years
50
ago.
below.
Again, with my
Of
courier
Leonard.
days, I was the courier in Enosburg Falls was the observer. Under my watch, the coldest temperature ever recorded under my personal watch in the Berg Falls was 41 below.
Okay.
So sure, Eastern Franklin County has absolutely hit minus 40s.
So
Go ahead, Len.
Yeah, I'm just going on here. One more thing about the month of March in that same year. The severe cold wave ameliorated only slightly in March, and as late as March 25th, a severe storm with freezing rain brought down power lines in Illinois, hindering rescue efforts by shutting down telephone communications. April, when average or even above average temperatures occurred for the first time since November of 1977, saw the real end of the cold wave, but snow melting and flooding caused damage to some locations. Sioux Falls saw its record coldest winter on record during the previous months. The severe eastern winter was sufficient to make 1978 the 11th coolest calendar year for the contiguous U.S. since 1895. So looks like 77 and 78 is where you want to look at.
Right, but again, I just want to be clear. I'm not questioning that it was frigid then. I'm just questioning you, or just telling you you're not. Just on the specific point about 2 straight weeks of below zero cold.
Well, I'm just
not saying it wasn't frigid.
I'm just saying
It was
just
frigid.
take a look at the data.
And I will, and I'll look at it, and
There's
I
a lot
recorded
stuff,
some
but
of this data.
God, Richard,
Anyway.
we've known each other a long time, and I'm being facetious here. But I mean, we're both advanced in years to render as evidence here that you remember everything that has occurred.
I didn't say I
since,
remember
say,
it.
1975.
I didn't say I
You have
remember it.
instant recall. Leads me to believe that you're almost superhuman.
That you can be sure that's the last thing I'd say, but I can tell you, Len, that guess who keeps a weather log for years and years? Me. Who's dealing with weather every day? And I look back at some of that all-weather data. I throw some of that all-weather data in my columns sometimes saying, hey, guys, you think the one day of 15 below was cold the other day. Let me tell you what it was
Oh,
like
God,
in
no.
January '77. So, in fact, I pay a lot of attention to this stuff. And if it
Well,
was
I'm
anywhere
curious
near what you were
77
saying, I
and
would
78
remember that.
shows and you know, you know, Richard, I'm strictly being a provocateur here, and my number
you're
one
doing a good- and you're doing a good
export
job,
on
I'll
this
give you
show
that.
is entertainment.
Yeah.
That's all I tend to offer. So,
So-
having said that, I'll say good night, and I look forward to next week and finding out how cold 77 and 78 was.
Right, and don't say when I tell you that January, whatever, had 20 days below zero, I don't want you to say, Richard, I told you it was frigid. I'm agreeing it was frigid. It just wasn't the 2 weeks below zero for the last time out of
Well, again, I'll be curious what you found in your data when we talk next week.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll talk.
Thank you so much,
Okay.
Leonard. Good
Don't
night.
forget, it's just entertainment.
Yes. Okay. Bye, Len.
Bye-bye.
For the record, New England's coldest temp -50, Bloomfield, Vermont, in a remote location in Maine. Burlington's coldest temp on record, I believe, -30.
To start with,
-30. We've been the coldest here in St. Albans.
I'm sure
38
St.
or
Albans is
something.
probably. I mean, I don't, you know.
as a lifelong
been some,
Vermonter,
yeah.
I can honestly tell you I've never even heard of the town of Bloomfield. Wouldn't even have a clue where to find it.
Yeah, Connecticut River, Northeast Kingdom, not too far from my camp. Just Canaan's the town
I
on the
know.
northeast corner.
Been to Canaan.
Not far from my, just go down along the river, Route 102, I think, maybe 15, 20 miles south,
Okay.
just about 10, 15 miles east of Island Pond.
And David, the Stowe Hockey Arena, I remember
cold.
being there. You know, they had a nice roof.
Coot Field wasn't exactly the warmest place.
No, it wasn't, but
David,
nothing is worse than
Are you
Stowe.
telling me Stowe has put walls in?
Stowe has
they
a
got a new
brand new,
arena.
beautiful.
Oh, they
rink.
put a brand new. Do
Oh,
they
yeah.
still have the other arena?
No,
Wait,
they
good.
put it right where the other one was.
Oh, okay. Well, you've been all right. Of course, you said you've been there. But that was kind of a fun place to watch hockey. You
It
had a
was,
roof over your head.
it was cold, though.
Yeah, it was cold. So okay. So I want to get back to my original Jimmy Garoppolo. You know, and that's what I'm hearing. That's kind of hot and heavy right now on the
Right.
circuit. Is like, oh, the Patriots were horrible. They
Well, I can say the Pats were in a toe. You know, what were the Pats supposed to do? Supposedly, Belichick. I mean, Kraft. Who doesn't like Brady? But it sounds like Robert Kraft loves Brady. Sounds like you know, Coach Belichick. You know, I don't think he's would have told Brady to hit the road this year. But with Belichick, you never quite know. But it sounds like Kraft made it totally clear. Hey, Brady's our guy. Do what you got to do. And then they got the best deal. I just think they should have traded Jimmy G, as I think I said earlier, and gotten more and gone with Jacoby Brissett as a backup, and he could have been a backup for years.
My feeling, let Jimmy play the whole season next year.
Yeah,
We'll
we'll see.
have an opinion. But number two, and this was a guy in Comcast Sports or NBC Sports now, I guess I call it, not 779, is you have a choice. Isn't football all about winning the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
So who would you rather have this year, next year? Tom Brady behind center?
Sure.
Or Jimmy Garoppolo. If you're just the type of guy that likes the security of knowing you're going to go 10-6, 11-5 for the next 10 years, then sure, you take Jimmy. But if you feel better about getting another Super Bowl ring, the obvious choice was keeping Tom Brady. And so I have no qualms. Now, the only downside for New England, of course, when this trade was made, San Francisco was the second overall pick behind Cleveland.
Oh, now-
well, in the
They've gotten
vein
better.
now that they just won 4 games in a row, they've dropped down probably around the 8th position. So,
Hawk, to back up here, this is the back of the Herald today. This is Herald Sports section today. Just your point exactly. He's right here, Brady. Brady versus Jimmy G. It's all about winning now.
Okay,
Just
yeah.
what you said.
Yeah.
But I feel, again, I mean, for people beating up on the pay, what are they supposed to do? You're going to really tell Tom Brady, see you, Tom.
Well, Duke.
thanks. You had some good years here.
Tom,
Thanks a lot.
Duke,
See ya. What
who
are they
in the
going to
hell
do?
is Tom Brady? He might win the MVP again
And then
this
beyond
year.
that, the contract situation. I mean, obviously, Jimmy G would still be there had they had another year. Jimmy G's contract was up.
Jimmy
If they
G's
keep
gonna
him-
get more money
if
than
they
what they're
keep
gonna
him-
pay Brady.
He obviously, you know, he wanted to get out of here and play, obviously. So if they kept him, they would have franchised him for what, 22 mil. So the Pats were in an untenable position. What are they going to do?
So I
They did the
agree.
best they could. They
Right.
I think the only criticism to me is maybe they should have traded him earlier.
And that was my other argument too, David, was it wasn't like it was just the Niners they talked to. I'm sure they talked to half the league, and the Niners probably gave them the best.
Well, this guy, I was listening to NFL Network because Jeffrey likes to listen to that. And we were on our way to lunch, and they were saying that the Patriots don't call. The Patriots don't call and say, hey, we got guys on. You got to call them.
Yep.
So that the 49ers just kept nagging and nagging and nagging. And that was about the only deal they could do.
Yeah.
Which in retrospect does seem almost unbelievable. I remember Colin Cowherd for weeks on radio saying, geez, Cleveland, give the Patriots your next 3 first-round picks to do whatever you have to do to get Jimmy G. But, I guess maybe they could have done a little better before. But the Pats they're in a terrible position,
And I
They were
agree.
screwed with this guy.
And again, we'll let him play a full season. And another thing, too, Jimmy G is 4 years older, at least 4 years older, than the guys coming out of the draft this year. So
This is,
One other little tidbit. We forgot to mention the winter of 1816.
I was just going to bring that up, but go ahead.
When it snowed in June, there was...
snow in June.
and
Famous year of no summer.
Yeah, and I've just got a couple of little tidbits. Flurries, let's see. On June 16th, 1816, 6 inches of snow fell in New England.
Wow.
All right, and a lot of crops were ruined. And then there was flurries fell in Boston, and the next day, the latest ever recorded, the snow was 18 inches deep in Cabot, Vermont on June 8th.
Wow.
And on June 11, a temperature of 30.5 degrees was recorded in Williamstown, Mass. 30 degrees in June. Frozen birds dropped dead in the field. Vermont farmers who had already shorn their sheep tried to tie their fleeces back on, but many froze to death anyway.
Oh, that's funny.
And then the temperature seesawed because on June 22nd in Salem, Mass, it was 101 degrees. So I just would like to say for all of you folks that believe in global warming, and I don't think there was...
And again, for the record, for the many people who do believe that, understandably, they think there's something going on. It's yet another year that's about to end. It was one of the warmest.
Yeah.
For like 8 of the last 10 years have
been warm.
Yeah.
But now I think
But
we're
I
going
hear
on a
you.
cold
Weather
start.
like this, I can just hear the Howie Cards of the world just yucking it up big time. Hey, good for them.
Well, when in 1816 it was 101 degrees one day on June 22nd, and then on July 4th it was 30 degrees.
Yeah.
No, weather's great. Huh?
Yeah, it's crazy.
But like Leonard said, it is the common denominator, whether you're rich or poor, this, that, and the other thing. It's something we all deal with, and it's an easy conversation
Oh, yeah.
to
it's
have.
good. I probably write about it too much. I love writing about that.
I love the weather.
Yeah.
You know what I'm disappointed in? Though one of the biggest disappointments for me is how they've Hollywooded up the Weather Channel.
Yeah, kind of like sport, like ESPN and Sports Center. Seems like everything kind of goes.
I used to like watching, I could
I
watch...
still watch it because I love weather enough, but I kind of know what you mean.
I could watch the loop go when they ran a loop and the radar, and I could watch that 3-4 times.
So you're just talking about just hype? I mean, it just gets too much hype? Or?
Besides the hype, how they've made a show out of everything. And then, of course, they've got all that other crap. Instead of actual showing the weather, they got, the highway from hell.
Right.
And the world's worst volcanoes and the world's
In
worst...
fact, that's my beef, especially when I'm going on a trip. I guess during the day, they're always giving you what's going on around the country. Right at night, you get into those shows. Hey, guys, I'm interested. I'm going down to North Carolina for
I'd like to know
a
the
football
weather.
game tomorrow. I'd love to. Can you give me a handle on what I'm going to run into in the Southeast? So, yeah, that's a legit beef.
And my
At night,
complaint is
good luck.
if I'm lying in bed watching TV, of course, you always get the weather downstairs on the computer. However, I like to
Sure.
see my weather on the 8s.
Sure.
And during the evening when they're showing Highway to Hell and all that, they don't show it, and they'll just give you
That little...
Jen's 32 degrees.
For Jen's now tomorrow.
And it's like, no, I want to see the weather map. And I want,
Right.
I think if I were king of the world and I was in media, I would come out with a weather channel for real weather junkies.
Yeah.
that like weather and no
I
fluff.
think there is another weather. I see it. There is another weather channel.
I'm
out
not
there
aware of that.
That's made really because I've seen it on the road on some road trips.
Well, you know what I love?
Had no traction.
Is it
maybe, I'm
AccuWeather?
not sure, but I've seen another. It's definitely another 24-hour weather channel.
I'll tell
but
you
they
what.
may have gotten no traction and maybe gone.
What's
by now.
really awful is there'll be some place and there's 2 inches of snow, and then a reporter takes the cameraman out and he's kicking the snow around. Look at all this snow here. I mean, it's 2 inches of snow. Who cares?
My favorite one,
Yeah, there you go.
and this is kind of like bloopers. You get your weather reporters out there, and they always exaggerate during the hurricane. And
Yeah, the
blowing.
wind's
Well,
blowing, and
there are a couple
Well,
teenagers.
sometimes
There are a couple
exaggerated.
teenagers in the background with beer in their hands. Their
Yeah.
shirts are off, and they're just walking gingerly by them. And the other person that's, the reporters.
I would
doing-
just say, in hurricane, they're not always exaggerating, but I understand your point.
Yeah.
but they've overdone it. They've overdone there's 50 million people are under a winter storm advisory.
Now, we've talked about, you realize the Weather Channel's weather superstar is the Vermont native Jim Cantori.
Yeah, I'm sick of him too. He's gotten too big for his britches.
Just noting, Vermont guy, White River Junction, Linden State College grad.
Now, I like the guy. I was watching Weather Underground tonight. The guy, he looks like
bow tie, Reynolds. No, that's not.
or
no.
Meeker. He looks like he's a weather nerd.
He's okay. He's not a hard guy. Yeah, I know exactly.
You know what I mean? A little bald-headed guy, and he used to be in Buffalo. I used to like Stuart Hall. When was the last time you saw a weather map where a low came down and he would say, okay, now this low is going to come across, and then when it'll get to the coast, then it'll reform and it'll be a nor'easter.
Well, speaking of Stewart, again, in my weather observing days at the County Courier, especially in Enosburg Falls, I would, of course, have many conversations with Stewart, giving him Enosburg Falls' official low, and probably 50 conversations over the years. He would now, Richard, is that an official? Yes, Stewart, it's official Weather Service substation. But yeah, would feed the Berg Falls temps to my good old friend Stewart.
Of course, in your youth, the reassuring voices at 6 o'clock in Channel
the-
3. Mickey
Mickey Gallagher.
Stuart Hall, and Tony Adams.
Tony Adams,
Good night, good sports.
Good sports.
And they did a feature on him the other night.
Oh, really?
Kind of sad in a way. He's 92 years old.
Really?
He volunteers at the hospital, and I think he's given 17,000 plus hours there.
Wow.
He still picks up the mail for Channel 3.
Really?
His wife passed away a number of years ago, and they
Wow.
were married like 60 years.
Wow.
And I think he said, I'm lonely, I've got nothing to do.
Wow.
And
Is that right? He
actually
still gets your mail?
92 years of age.
I can remember when I was at UVM, Tony used to run on the track and stuff. Tony was in great shape.
Yeah.
All right.
I like
Let's
Tony a lot.
Talk about stability. Didn't they have like the incredible stability on Channel 3? Those guys were there for
Well, the
maybe
Martins
30
don't
years
even
or
own
something.
Channel 3 anymore.
Yeah, it was sold.
That was sold about a year ago. Yeah, I
Or
called.
last June, I think, about a half year ago.
I called them up, and somehow I missed the sale of that. And geez, that was sold
I think
2
for
months ago.
29 mil.
Yeah.
They, I cannot tell you that I'm fond of their direction of their broadcasts now.
Well, David,
And how so?
I cannot stand that Darren, whatever his name is.
Darren Perrin.
Yeah.
His presentation, or are you
And the
talking about
whole and the little banter and the
But you know what it
chit-chat.
looks like, Channel 3 News to me now, is they get all these graduates out. They probably give them $10.50 an hour, and here's your first job, because there's a very big turnaround in talent down there now. They'll be there for 3-4 months, and they're gone.
I actually like NBC better. Not NBC, but Channel 5.
Channel 5.
formerly WPTZ, now NBC5?
Well, you know why they did that?
No, I don't. I really
I
don't.
heard because of they didn't want such a Plattsburgh connection.
They
or
want to
something?
be, they did not, everybody used to think that Channel 5 was Plattsburgh. They want NBC5 to be Burlington.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, maybe because of that, I noticed that Channel 22, Fox 44 folks seem to be giving Plattsburgh some more attention.
Oh, I forgot
might
to
make
tell you,
sense from their point
I'm
of view.
flipping through the channels the other night, and their weather guy, Gib,
Gib Brown, I happened to see him on his last weather.
his last, right, he
Good guy, very
retired.
good, easy
yeah.
guy to deal with.
Yeah, Yeah.
I just happened upon
Well,
that.
we had who's the other guy? The
Very good
Channel
guy.
5 guy.
Tom Messner.
Tom
Tom
Messner's
Messner
been there
was
forever.
spoke at the Rotary one time, and he brought along a whole. He's had all sorts of stuff. And I was asking him about the forecast. Do you just get it off the press or the ticker or whatever? And he goes, no, I make my own.
Yeah.
He goes, I take my own stuff and I do it.
Is he a meteorologist,
Yeah.
though?
Yeah, he
Because
is.
a lot of these folks on TV they just rip and read. They'll point at the
Good Brand,
fancy-
I take him at his word.
Yeah.
He was, I guess his background was teaching, but the person who's not on Channel 3, and they did have one ad with their weather people that I thought was misleading. Sharon Myers is not a meteorologist.
She's just a.
I think Dave Bush, I think the other folks are.
Was she
Right,
Marcellus Parsons' wife?
No.
She was-
Marcellus, of course, was my cousin. No.
Okay, no.
I've never met Marcellus's wife, but
No, Marcellus married a girl from Channel 3, like, say, 40 years ago.
she did ads
She did
for him or something?
advertising. Good-looking lady, but that was about 40 years ago.
But it wasn't
No.
Sharon Meyer.
No.
I don't think Sharon's a meteorologist. It's funny, poor Channel 22 and 44 seem to be the poor folks. I think they do a decent job, but a bunch of their meteorologists have landed, like Michael Parker. You'd recognize him if you saw him.
I don't watch
He's on
that.
NECN out of Boston.
Okay.
But some of their people, those guys do a good job. Some of those people have landed bigger
The guy
jobs.
in Channel 3 does the 11 o'clock news. He left about a month ago. He co-anchored with Eva. She's the African-American girl that
Yeah.
does it. And he wasn't there. So I'm watching for about a week. Where the heck is he? So
I'm not talking about Roger.
no, not
Roger's
Roger
the new-
Garrity.
He's the news director
No,
now.
no.
Taking over for Anson Tebbets,
Oh.
who's Vermont's new
Okay.
agriculture chief.
Well, I can't remember this guy's name.
Succeeded Marcellus after he died.
Tall, skinny guy. So I typed his name in, Googled it like I'm some genius, and he took a job down in Hartford, Connecticut.
Oh, yeah.
And I called Channel 3, and they were very gracious. No, he wanted to be closer to his family and all
I'm
that.
sorry, he was
So-
the 11 o'clock
Yeah, co-anchor.
space.
Yeah,
spacing
and-
out.
They haven't replaced him. So you're telling me Roger Garrity isn't on air anymore?
He's not on air, but he's a news director. I see him like filling in, I guess. But he succeeded Anson Tebbets as news director.
Okay.
He used to be, of course, because I watch at noon maybe once a week, as I did today. And yeah, so he's not on air too much, but he's the guy, news director guy.
Well, we kind of gotten away from the,
Yeah, we did. Well, it's really a dearth of sports news anyway.
and it's funny, you're right too, David, because 2 weeks from now, we'll be talking about Kapalua,
Yeah.
the most beautiful place in the world. Of course, we'll be
Yeah, that'll
right
be
in the
nice
middle
to get real golf season
of the NFL
back.
playoffs. And not only that, 2 minutes.
minutes?
Okay, not only that is we'll be into conference play of basketball. The first 2 months are just
We do, for the record, have some pretty, I know it means nothing to you, Hawk, I guess, big football. I mean, Monday's a pretty good college football
Yeah,
day.
that'll be fun to watch.
Clemson, Alabama, Oklahoma, Georgia, those should be a couple of pretty
Clemson,
good
Alabama
games.
should be a dogfight.
And
Well-
the other game
well,
may be a good
Oklahoma
game
is a
too.
team of interest with Baker Mayfield. See what type of talent he has, how high in the first round he can climb.
Yeah, not to mention Clemson trying to win 2 straight national champions. My Dukies, a decent effort yesterday in the Quick Lane Bowl in Detroit. Anyway, it beat Northern Illinois. Weird game. They're up 14-0. Northern Illinois, 2 long pass plays ties it up. The Dukies won it going away. This is maybe the worst play I've ever seen in any football game ever. Dukies are up 14-0. Northern Illinois has got a 4th and 18, I think, at their, or 4th and 15 at their, 4th and 10 at their 11-yard line. They do a fake punt on the worst pass play ever. Don't complete the pass. The Dukies go in for another touchdown. Anyway, Dukies a weird season. 4-0 at the start.
Yes.
Lose 6 straight games against all odds. They had an 11% chance, according to Vegas, to win their last 2 games. They won their last 2 games.
Made the bowl.
Win the bowl 7-6 winning season.
That's it. So you have the last word. That will conclude this edition of the Best Damn Sports Show in Franklin County. For Joanne, the Duke, Super Dave, I am the Nighthawk. Until next week,
Happy
everyone.
New Year, too.
Which will indeed be the new year. Remember, folks, you do not have to be a great athlete to be a good sport. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Happy, healthy New Year, folks. Be well.